Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Inside Out Smile. I'm your host, Dr. Amber Q, and I am back. Yes, I'm thrilled to be back after a break of 2 months. Originally, I'd intended just to have a break from the podcast during Ramadan, as that's a time for reflection and devotion to God. But I ended up having the following month off as well. So I've been gone during March and April because there were so many things that I've been doing in April. And it's quite incredible actually to be back in May and to just think how things have changed for me. And I don't know what's changed in your life, but let's hope that it is for the better. Of course, the genocide is just raging on uncontrollably. It's so awful. I actually came across 2 people that knew nothing about it, and it really illustrated to me how everyone is just locked within their own, I don't want to say misery, but within their own world. And I have to say, for both of these people, I would say probably both vulnerable. I don't mean pathologically so, but vulnerable in their own stress-induced, I guess, circumstances. Not that I'm implying that it was due to them, but in a sense, again, it's all about our response, isn't it? But I think that really opened my mind because I've met some very interesting entrepreneurs. Of course, it's always shocking to just see, I think, the spectrum of people in society, where some people are on a flotilla in the sea getting attacked because they're trying to deliver humanitarian aid, other people who are just doing what they can, and then people who, well, you know, are they going to boycott something? Well, no, because it's going to interrupt their party plan, you know? And then, of course, they're people that have no idea because they're locked into the misery of their own circumstances. And it's interesting because I feel that wherever we are on this spectrum of time in history, wherever or whatever part we are playing along the timeline of our lives, our actions are going to have consequences. Now, the interesting thing is that depending on your perspective, those consequences are going to follow you throughout your existence in this life and beyond. So our actions will have consequences for ourselves and for society in the present and in the future, depending on our actions and what we leave behind. And then, of course, for those of us who do believe in an afterlife, the akhirah, that obviously those actions are going to follow us through. Our deeds are going to follow us through into our life, which is going to last essentially for eternity. And I think that just the fact that, I don't know, it's just the fact that some people, because of course in different faiths, different people believe different things. Obviously, I feel that Islam is the truth. I know that it's the truth for a multitude of reasons. But if somebody believes in reincarnation or any form of afterlife, one would think that they would live their lives more intentionally. And what I think is really interesting is that Harvard studies show as well, you know, everyone speaks about flourishing. And funnily enough, I'm doing a talk this week at a great venue in London. And I do mention this. And this is the case. The fact is that we know that flourishing is about meaning, purpose, values, etc. But do people actually live their life as mindfully as they could? You know, we do have sustainable clothing now. Somebody asked me about sustainable clothing the other day, actually, and I was pleased to hear that. But the question is, do any of us live as mindfully as we should? And I'm speaking first and foremost to myself, because even when we're eating, if we are not chewing mindfully, it will not just affect us in terms of our digestion, but in terms of, and I guess, that follows, but in terms of the nutrients that are extracted from food, which I think is absolutely fascinating. And I don't know, it's just really striking me how artificial our lives are. And the beauty is that the most natural way of life is the Islamic way of life, which is why I love it so much, which is why it is the fastest growing religion in the world. And it's just amazing. But moving along from that, I think what I want to say today is that we all need to start being more mindful, because I think change is coming and it's not going to be what people have hoped for. So I think now is the time for people to start examining their lives and to be more mindful. Until the next episode, let's create connection and not just change lives, but save lives.